hello to everyone who's going to be watching this. It's Drinker, and it's Mauler, and we're here.
Hello.
I'm coming at you from what I hope is a stable internet connection this time, and Mauler's had all the foods in his vicinity locked away, so we
Yes.
shouldn't have to...
Apologies. Back to your regularly scheduled Q&A, I suppose.
I was going to say, I would like to think, or I'd like to say that this is just going to be like a smooth, efficient operation like they normally are on Open Bar, but that would be a lie anyway. Like, the best thing we can hope is to stumble through from beginning to end and not die in the process. So we'll try and at least achieve that tonight.
Hang in there, folks.
Yeah.
We'll be right with you.
Anyway, you guys were good enough to send us a whole bunch of super chats, and it's about time we get through the ones that we missed the other night. So I will launch right into it. Superfly says, if a movie is bad but enjoyable and everyone agrees they like it, is it still bad? If the intent of the film is to make the worst movie ever and they do, is the film a success? I mean,
well, just say, is The Room bad? Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah,
though.
exactly. I mean, it's bad in the sense that Tommy Wiseau set out to make a legit drama. You know, we love it because it's comically stupid and inept, but it's a bad movie in that sense because it didn't achieve his objectives. If his objective had been to make like a parody of bad filmmaking, you know, from egotistical directors and hammy acting, then sure, yeah, I would consider it a fantastic comedy. But yeah. So yeah, if it does what it sets out to do, then fine, it's a good movie. If it's bad but enjoyable and everyone agrees they like it, that's the question. Yeah, I think The Room's probably a good example of that too. So hopefully that answers it. Casey Boyd says, I watched Goodfellas for the first time. In the first 5 minutes, I knew I was going to like it. Can't remember the last time I had that feeling with a movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I probably had it with Top Gun 2, just when the theme tune kicked in. I just knew. I knew right there they got it. That epic Top Gun intro, and then the images of the fighter jets at dusk taking off from the aircraft carrier. I just thought, yeah, that'll do.
I've talked before on different streams about how like an opening scene can be everything for, obviously not just for grabbing an audience, but for just telling you what you're in for in terms of the whole movie. There's a couple of movies to reference, but like their opening scene will capture the entire film, but usually in a subtle way, right? Like the one I'll go to, because off the top of my head, just be Jurassic Park. That opening of everyone is trying to get the Velociraptor into the park ready for, you know, making money, and it starts killing them, and they're terrified, and then it, you know, it's in darkness, and it's all just sort of like, what does all that mean? It's like, well, it's man's attempt to wrangle nature for its own purposes and how wrong it can go, basically, right? That's what the whole movie is.
Yeah.
I like that shit.
I mean, like, the classic example, I guess, as well, is A New Hope. You got
Yep.
that epic shot of the Star Destroyer, just that, you know, it's old hat to us, obviously, but audiences back in 1977 must have just been blown away. Like, this ship just keeps going and going. Like, my God, it's awe-inspiring.
A large boy.
It is, yeah. So, yeah, it can be done for sure. Kim Bob says, everyone take a Vans pill and let's fucking go. What?
A
What's
what pill?
Vans pill? Vans. I don't know what that means. Sorry. Silver Slug Videos says, when I watch you live, you sound drunk because it's not 2 times speed. Mortal Kombat 1 new trailer's out, and I don't know how woke it'll be, like when they patch Johnny Cage, okay, hand sign in Mortal Kombat 11. Ellie's gay, by the way.
Wait, the hand side, like the okay side, because I remember that shit with the. Oh fuck! How stupid that was. That was like wasn't that like a 4chan troll or whatever to convince everybody that the okay sign was like a Nazi thing?
I think so, yeah, and everyone bought it.
As for you know, there's a lot of discussion about like all the women are getting their boobs covered up, but all the men now are pretty covered up as well. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never understood it. I agree with. Yeah,
I was gonna say, all the things to be puritanical about fucking Mortal Kombat. Like
I don't
a game
get
where
it.
you're tearing people's spinal columns out and stuff.
It is one of the most violent games, and you could be like, yeah, but the context is a little bit more goofy than serious. And it's like, no, sure, but you can't have boobs, really? Why? Yeah.
Well, this is like what we were discussing the other night, where you're talking about something like Game of Thrones. You know, we're getting people dismembered, burned alive, like eaten, disemboweled. But you know, you show like a bit of tit or a bit of non-consensual sex, and it's like suddenly everyone's up in arms. Like, where's your moral compass on this? Like, either be consistent or like abandon it altogether.
It's weird because you'll get a lot of creators being like, you know, we had the nude scene because it felt very necessary, very important, and you're sort of sitting there like, is that we can't have them now just for the hell of it? Like, is that out as an option? Okay,
I know.
I
Like,
don't
give
know
the people
when
what they want.
when did that meeting happen? I wasn't there.
I think, well, we know obviously what's changed in Hollywood. You know, ever since old Harvey got found out, I think the
Right.
whole portrayal of women in mainstream movies anyway drastically changed because they were so
That's the thing.
desperate to prove how
It doesn't have to
progressive
be
they were.
exploitative. It can just be, we're making this. Who would like to star and have to do these things? Hopefully, you don't consider it too much of a fucking nightmare.
I
Because this is what
think,
we wanted to make for the audience, you know, that sort of thing.
well, yeah, absolutely, I agree. But I think the argument from those kinds of people will just be, well, anytime you show an attractive woman in a bikini for any reason that's not specifically plot related is exploitation. How dare you show an attractive woman with a
Hmm.
bit of skin
Well,
on
yeah, because we were
display?
just talking about how fucking video game characters, it doesn't even matter though. We're talking about like real people's issues with maybe having to do the scenes at this point. Which, by the way, there are plenty of actors and actresses that are totally happy to do it. It's just, yeah, we're in a strange moment for culture where it's like a big no-no. Maybe it'll come back someday in a big
I
way.
mean, I'm hoping so. Yeah. I mean, I watched, like I say, Fast and Furious 10. It's a great example. It's like you're in a little time warp because they do still have those montage scenes where they're setting up another street race, and it'll just be like a bunch of girls in bikinis dancing around, like a few shots of asses that just look really nice. You know, some boobs jiggling around. It's great. Like, just it doesn't hurt anyone. There's no harm in putting that in, and it makes the movie a lot more fun. I'm gonna make a video about this actually. Make boobs great again or something. I'll find a way.
Do it.
Casey Boyd says, "You guys seen Lethal Weapon 5 yet?" No,
No.
because it doesn't exist yet. I thought that was just something that was getting worked on. I didn't think it was a thing.
Are they asking if we've seen like anything related to its production? Maybe.
I mean, they just said specifically, "Have you seen Lethal Weapon 5 yet?" So yeah, to answer your question, no. And I don't know much
Yeah,
about the
no.
production at this point. Tim France says, "Hail Drunkler, Mauler, Chris Gore, Echo, and Razor. Thank you, and hail to you."
Hail.
Vinyl Morpheus says, "Red Letter Media once pointed out that the quality of an Indiana Jones film is tied to how many people indie Minecrafts in the film. Anyone got a body count?"
Hmm.
I don't know, actually. Like, a lot of people die in these movies.
I think, yeah, they made the point that they do a death count in the first three movies, which is pretty large. Indy kills a shit ton of people, and then they do a death count, I think, in the new in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, so new at the time, and it was one. Like Indy killed one person, and it wasn't clear if he actually killed them.
Right,
Because
okay.
I'm vaguely remembering the point made in
Well,
that video.
no,
I thought
that's
it was
bullshit. Because he roasts two people alive with the jet engine at least. So there's got to be that. There's the guy who gets killed by the ants. Like Indy punches him off the truck and he gets eaten by them. So that's three at least.
yeah, fair enough. I'd have to rewatch the video, but obviously the point was that he kills a hell of a lot less people than in the original three. A little
Okay.
less grit.
I
I
don't
do like
approve
watching
of
Indiana
that.
Jones kill people, so
It's very satisfying, yeah. Sometimes he just straight up shoots them. Nice and easy. Superfly says, "Hey Mauler, when do EFAP episodes start? Is there a schedule? Also, watch a doc called Behind the Curve. It's hilarious."
feels really weird that people ask that. I'm guessing maybe they knew because like we've started it around within a limit of 10 minutes, 7 p.m. on Saturday for like 5 years.
People are just like, "I still don't get your schedule. It doesn't make any sense."
The crazy part is when people are like on the Moolah channel, they comment like, "Where does this thing stream?" And I'm like, "Oh shit! I guess you found the channel through like just the channel. You didn't even find it through my main
Yeah.
channel." But yeah, you just don't
I
think
mean,
to
it's
sort of account for that sometimes.
well, yeah. I mean, and I guess it'll happen more and more as like Mueller gets bigger. and more people will find it because it's well over 100K now, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I never entertain that as an actual thing. I always assume it's just like a sub channel of my main channel, especially because we don't do clips, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think you should really think about doing that. By the way, it's very handy, like for especially for people who just want to dip in and out, rather than I don't have 8 hours to watch an entire EFAP, but like some highlights or whatever. It's kind of fun.
It's not a bad idea. It's not. I just when I'm running them, I really don't think like in the moment of like, oh, that was a good 10-minute section there. I'm always just like making sure everything's running.
I tried, yeah, because it does involve a bit of trolling through the previous stream to find like, oh, that was kind of cool, that was a good moment or whatever. But yeah, sometimes it's worth it. Okay, Derek says, is there a scene from a movie that gives you chills every time? For me, it's the charge of the Rohirrim from Lord of the Rings. That is a very good scene.
Yeah, that'd be a really good one. Chills every time. It's hard to say.
Well, there's always a bit, and it's not like a poignant scene or anything, because that's kind of what you would normally expect. But you know, in Blood Diamonds, how you've got Leonardo DiCaprio and he's paired up with I can never say the actor's name.
Digimon Hansu.
That's
Digimon
yeah,
Hansu.
I mean, that's the best I can do to pronounce it. Yeah. Anyway, this guy's been like getting tormented by like a warlord dude like through like a lot of the movie, threatening his son and stuff. And there's like that big climactic battle near the end where like he just goes at him with a shovel. And
yeah,
it's like he's just screaming at the absolute top of his lungs and like the absolute rage in his eyes. It totally gives me chills because it's so realistic. It's like I feel like I'm not looking at an actor right now. He's just really going at it. So yeah, I was stuck in my head.
I'd have to think about it and look through lists because there's gonna be so many of them. But right now I'm just like I don't even know.
Yeah. Mars Death says Drinker Doggo Cam stats. Also hi Mauler.
Hello.
There you go. Yeah, sorry about the Doggo Cam. I mean the doggo's not actually here in the room with me tonight, and yeah. I think I got out of the habit because we did like the 50th open bar and there was just too many people to have the dog cam on as well. But yeah, need to bring it back. Kevin O'Neill says, how many times would KK have been fired by now if she was a man? A very good question. Yeah, like it seems like she can get away with virtually any level of failure and it's fine. Rooster Cogburn says, Indiana Jones and the Locket of Life alert. He's just stabbing it all throughout the movie. I just want to get out of here. Have you heard the rumors as well about how it ends? And this is complete rumor mongering, so I have no idea if it's going to be true or what.
What is it? Tell me.
Indy wants to stay in the past because he's happy there or something. He's got nothing to live for in the present, like the 1960s.
Nothing to live for. This sounds about right, doesn't it?
Phoebe Waller-Bridge tries to persuade him to go because like he could fuck up the timeline if he stays in the past, like altering things, even if he doesn't mean to, and eventually ends up knocking him out and forcing him to go back, like basically carries him back, and then he wakes up and gets reunited with Marion, who he was getting divorced from.
What is the time travel mechanic in this?
It's the Dial of Destiny is some device that was made by like Archimedes or something, right? And it can somehow detect fissures in the fabric of space-time. And so
why the
it can
fuck are we doing this for Indiana Jones?
I don't know. It's Indiana Jones and the complete fucking lack of ideas. I tell you, man, like I've got a feeling, that clip from World's End where Nick Frost is just like, so no one's got a better idea, so fuck it, and he smashes through the window. That's going to explain so much of the plotting of this movie, I think. It's like, we've got nothing else. We've done religions, and we can't cover them anymore. There's no way that'll be allowed in modern Hollywood, so we've done space aliens. What's left? Fucking time travel, I guess.
That's when that's it. That's like the last stop on the ideas train. You're like, well, time travel.
Yeah. I mean, it's his last one anyway, so I guess who gives a fuck? Harrison Ford probably doesn't. Give me my goddamn paycheck.
Hey, he cares about Indiana Jones, okay?
He did cry at Cannes, maybe because he knew how shit the film was. I don't know. The Lone Canuck says, "If we get anything out of this Indiana Jones movie, I hope to see him hating on hippies. That would be good, actually. I could get behind that one. Just shoot a few of them."
Then jump
He's
in the
at a
time
peace
machine.
yeah, he's at a peace protest, and it's like he just brings out his revolver, starts gunning them down. No, indeed.
These
We talked about
goddamn hippies.
Sunny A says, "KK, I'm here to destroy IPs and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum." That's very, very apt, yeah. Like we said the other night, now that she's destroyed Star Wars, Willow, and probably Indiana Jones, there's nothing left to work with. There's nothing left to destroy.
This is one of those
I
moments
mean,
where she's like, "My work is done," and leaves, and they're all like, "Thanks, I guess." That was.
I think so, yeah. It's like that quote. It's like, when Alexander saw the breadth of his domain, he wept, for there were no more worlds to conquer.
She's like, "Are there any more IPs left?" They're like, "No, that's it. We even killed the Mandalorian. That was the thing we made, and it's dead."
It's like you've killed every major franchise ever and the very concept of cinema. Well,
She's like, "Can we get a Willow season 2?" They're like, "No, we can't. We just can't, Kathy." And she's like, "Oh wow, guess that's it."
Mr. Nobody says, "You know what I want to see? Phoebe Waller-Bridge knock Indiana Jones out cold in one punch in order to save him from his toxic masculinity." Well, fuck, that might actually be what happens. Oh yeah, he does say that apparently happens. Yeah, so I would just love. How the fuck is she gonna knock him out with one punch?
He's old.
He's old
Whatever.
now. Yeah,
It's
that's
fine.
the standard
Yeah.
excuse. Who cares? Holy Hand Grenade says, "Drinker, plan on playing." I don't know why I went really high pitched there. Planning on playing 40k bolt gun. Also, if you had to guess which faction Mauler would like most, which would it be? My guess is the Necrons. Yeah, so 40k bolt gun. I saw G-Man review it actually, and yeah, it looks kind of cool. It's like a throwback to 90s first-person shooters, but yeah, done in the 40k universe. So it's kind of a decent concept, I suppose. I'm really not familiar with any of the 40k video games, which is a shame because some of them must be good. Surely they've made a ton of them. But yeah, what faction would Mauler be? This is a tough one. I mean, maybe the Thousand Suns, Chaos Space Marines, because they're very devious and analytical and stuff. They specialize in sorcery, and they're evil. So I think that would fit with your persona pretty well. So
what about those Necrons? They sound cool.
They're like, how can I describe them? They're like ancient aliens that got put into bodies made out of living metal. And so they're almost indestructible because if you shoot them, they just sort of reform. And yeah, they're a bit like the Borg or something from Star Trek. They kind of operate like they've got no souls anymore, no free will. They just operate as part of a collective.
Okay.
So they're not very fun to fight against. So there's that. Yeah. I suppose there's the Tyranids as well. Since you're an eldritch being, they're like aliens with like multiple limbs, and they're extremely evil. And they just kind of consume all organic matter. So
that's totally me.
Yeah, well, you know, we got all the eating from last week. William says the Dyke of Destiny. Yeah. Obsidian Mug says, "Any Metal Gear fans here excited about the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake? I know Razorfist is. Isn't it some shitty third party that they've got doing this? I could be wrong. Let me just check. Is it Konami that are doing it? Remake. So, right, yeah. So Kojima's not going to be involved in it. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. So Konami are working on it, which is good, but Kojima's not involved, I don't think. So yeah, they're going to get the original voice actors, storylines, and combat returning for a faithful recreation. And faithful is put in quotation marks, which doesn't fill me with confidence. Yeah, I mean, I'll be interested to see it. Hopefully they do a good job with it, because it's probably my favorite Metal Gear Solid game, so don't fuck it up, please. Hyde F10 says, "Where is the drinker from in Alba? I'm from the Dean." Well, I'm from the Fife. So there you go. Cameron Davis says, "Rumors are that all of the indie early release decisions were to set KK up for a fall." That's the conspiracy theories we've heard. I don't know how much stock to
Set
put
her
in
up
them.
for fall. She's fallen like 17 times.
I know, but then you've got a pretty, like, say you've spent 300 million on this movie, which is what the budget is, and then God knows how much on marketing, and it flops utterly. It loses the studio hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, damn, it could practically bankrupt Lucasfilm at this point. That would give you,
hope.
if you were Bob Iger, a pretty good mandate to say, yeah, we have to get rid of you, Kathy. I'm sorry. Someone has to take the fall for this, and it's you. I don't want to let you go.
We have to retire you. You have to announce you're happily moving on to greater prospects.
Yeah. I would be quite amused if they Bob Chapek'd her. I just made the announcement on a Sunday night in the middle of the night. Oh, by the way, Kathleen Kennedy doesn't work here anymore. Jesus or Jesus Davila gave me a thumbs up, so thanks. Austin Vandiver says, "What are your thoughts on Bad Batch?" I know precisely fuck all about the Bad Batch, so I've got no thoughts on it whatsoever.
Same, I'm afraid.
All right. Dean Cole says, "Hey Razor, is Hobbs sharing her cartel money?" What? I don't know what that is. Caleb Hahn says, "Nutsa gives Mahler a run for his money with the best voice moniker. She should be on Open Bar. Seems to be a favourite on EFAP."
Yeah, that'd be a good buy for good bet for Open Bar. She's quite cool.
What does she do? What's her thing?
She does video essays as well. She's covered a couple things. She had some hot takes. She said, I mean, the reason we covered her, I think, was she took issue with how they contextualize the "with greater power comes great responsibility" in No Way Home, and we covered it. And then we invited her on, and she's been a great guest several times.
Nice. Now, is she part of the British master race like us, or is she an American?
Actually, I don't know exactly where she's from. I think she has you'd say she has an American accent, though.
Well, can't
win them all.
Yeah. Casey Boyd says Tarantino said that these are his perfect films: Exorcist, Jaws, Back to the Future, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Annie Hall, The Wild Bunch, Young Frankenstein. Do you agree? And what would be a perfect film not on the list? Well, clearly you're missing Big Trouble in Little China right there.
Alien.
Yeah. Terminator. Both of them, actually.
Yeah, there's a few. But hey, good selection.
I would put Tremors on that list as well. I cannot float that script.
It's a pretty fucking good movie.
Really, really fun. Alan Stewart gave us £5, so thanks, man. Vinyl Morpheus says, "Muller, what YouTuber would you rather see Boogie Box next? Jim, Capitalism Sterling, or that crying consume next product guy?"
Oh, Jim Sterling easily. Jim Sterling does wrestling, so you know there's something there, right? Like the crying guy he's just gonna cry, and then he's gonna fall over. Maybe the crying guy would be more interesting because you don't know who's gonna win that. You kind of need Boogie to have an opponent. You know, the famous guy who like watched the trailer for Rise of Skywalker and just cried his eyes out.
Oh yeah.
Something Butts, I think. Eric Butts. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. He wouldn't even make it to the ring. I don't think he would.
He'd be crying. He'd be like, "This is such an incredible moment for everybody. I can't believe it. This is amazing."
I want to see. I don't want to see Boogie box him. I want to see Wings box.
Yeah, Wings and Sterling. That'd be good.
Fucking demolish him. It's funny, like, you know, Wings has become the unlikely hero of this tale.
Who knows how long that will last? But hey, maybe next year as well they'll do another fight.
Yeah, I just find myself weirdly invested in him now. It's like, oh, good on him. I want him to succeed. Come on, Wings.
Redemption stories. People love him.
Yeah, everyone deserves another chance, I suppose. He's probably had several, but you know.
Just a few.
Confucius says, "In anyone's opinion, should Berserk be left as it was by Miura or finished by Miro? Depending on how much material was left behind, you could either get Christopher Tolkien, good, or Brian Herbert, very not good or divisive." I may not be the best person to answer this question, I'm afraid.
Yeah, if I were familiar with Berserk, I'd give something of an answer, but that's one of those things where if I had the power to decide, I'd probably just try and call a vote on the fan base. What do they want?
Yep.
because that's a real tough one to answer. And, you know, it would be cool to know maybe the creator's thoughts, if he gave any, regarding something like that.
Yeah.
Before he
Alex
died.
K says, happy 51 years anniversary, Drinker and Mooper. Thank you. It's
Yeah,
been
man,
a
we're
great
hitting
50
them,
years.
hitting them anniversaries so quickly. It's like a year passes with every week.
Yeah, it's remarkable. That's how much fun we're having, you see.
Hell yeah.
Asher Dale says, the customer is always right. Unless you're a customer of Hollywood, then you're wrong. Hollywood always knows best. Yes, and you should accept what they give you and apologize for living.
And pay for it and enjoy it.
Yeah. Cody Griffin says, sorry, I know this is off topic, but I watched The Proposition the other day. It's a 2009 movie, I think. Guy Pearce, Australian Western. Thoughts? Or if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Cheers. Proposition. Don't think I've seen that one.
Never heard of it.
We'll take the recommendation from you. Thanks, man. The Hidden Duck says, what did they do to Nebula in Guardians 3? It looks like she was wearing padding on her waist to look less curvy. I don't know what happened there. And did Karen Gillan not say something about this?
I think she said something weird had happened. That things didn't, like, I don't know if it was just something about post-processing or the way a camera thing or how the shirt sat, whatever, but she said it looked weird.
Because it's like, I could get if it was just the poster. It's like, well, okay, you know, people get a bit Photoshop happy or whatever. But like when you see her actually moving around on screen, it really seems like, yeah, something looked off there. Because damn, man, she's got the kind of body you don't want to be hiding too much of that.
Sexist.
I know.
In the
I just
best
know what I like.
way.
Yeah. Jay Salty Beaver says, cheers lads, tomorrow I hit the big 3-1 and I'll be celebrating with my family in Dallas. Go away now. Indeed, thanks man, and well, enjoy your birthday. I'm sure you've had it already, but I hope you had a great day with your family, man.
Yeah.
Sam Wallace Art says, it is weird how every show has a this guy goes down on his girlfriend scene. Like it's a bonus if the writers can get that in there. Well, sex positive and all that, I guess. Doggy says, desexualize things unless it promotes the message. Yeah, I think Lauren Chen broke this down at one point where she was like, right, woman in bikini bad unless she happens to be fat or ugly, in which case it's empowering. That seems to be the logic behind it. Body positive, you know. Knight of Solitaire says, executive, we need to cut this sex scene out. Writer, what if it's two dudes? Executive, perfect. Make sure it's not too graphic. This is a movie for kids after all. Okay. David Peterson says, look for it's not porn, it's HBO on YouTube. I guess that's a video title.
That sounds familiar, yeah.
It'd be interesting to compare. Patrick Lemire says, fight hot phobia, Chris Gore. Yeah, we need to do more to fight that. Intelligent Crayon Eater says, pour out one for Ray Stevenson. It's a real shame that his last role is going to be on Ahsoka. For the panel, what is your favourite role of his and why is it Rome?
From what I've heard, that's not his last role, Ahsoka, but it's obviously one of the last ones. As for my favourite Ray Stevenson role, I don't know.
I mean, he's apparently the best Punisher.
I need to see that.
I mean,
that's kind of like a cool thing to have to see because, you know, it's praised so well. I hope it lives up to the praise a little bit.
Yeah. That character's been adapted a bunch of times, eh?
And apparently successfully, because from what I gather, there's no Punisher like portrayal that anyone hates. They're all they're ranked, but like they're usually pretty good, from what I gather.
There's a Dolph Lundgren version, so I don't know how well ranked that is.
Do people like that one? Or did they not?
Know.
I could buy that being okay. I don't know though. Maybe.
I mean, yeah. It's probably because I imagine it was done in like the mid-90s or something, so it's probably just got that goofy, low-budget 90s charm to it.
Yeah, you just don't have him speak much, you know?
Yeah. Masked Jackal says, hey Drinker, I just watched Sisu after you recommended it. Nice. Clearly shows to Marvel you don't need hundreds of millions to make a good movie. I'll suggest again a Drinker's extra shots for No Country for Old Men. Such a great film. Believe that. I do believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Lafrau says, greetings from Portugal. Have you watched a TV show called The Unit? I think it's based on Delta Force. I've heard of it. I haven't watched it though, I don't think. I think that was from a good few years ago. If it's the one I'm thinking of, I think that's like a 2000s one. Christine says the dub ad bothers me the most because it glorifies obesity. I mean, yeah, it's it's an interesting one, that's for sure. They made some decisions with that ad. I don't think they were good ones. Chris Nicholson says, I was naively hoping that Indiana Jones 5 might actually be decent, but thanks to Kathleen Kennedy, it looks like this franchise will stick the landing about as well as Harrison Ford on a golf course. Hey,
You
it's
know,
not his fault that.
I don't know what we
Yeah.
were like. What was the expectation it was going to be good? Really, like what were you basing that on?
Yeah.
Just general hope, I guess.
Well, it's like
Mangled,
they made
maybe, I
some.
guess.
Yeah, could you say like, well, they made a few mistakes with Crystal Skull, but they've had 15 years to come up with better ideas, so clearly that's going to make it better.
I think James Mangold being the director is like the only thing that makes people go like, he's made films I
Yeah.
like. It's like that's true.
I mean, this could again prove the idea that a good director doesn't necessarily make a good movie.
Dude,
It's like it needs a lot more than just a guy who can make good films to produce something good at the end of this, particularly when there's going to be a mountain of studio interference in it.
speaking of that concept, have you heard the news that like it's a good chance Sam Raimi will be doing the Avengers movies?
Yeah. Just why would you
Sam,
come back to this? Just don't
Sam,
do it.
run.
Yeah. Just leave. Just go back to doing fun stuff. Um, Rebound says, looking at historical examples of cod pieces, as one does on a Saturday night, I conclude that the reason boob plate did not exist in history is because women of note rarely had armor. I mean, I'd say that's probably a pretty fair assumption, yeah. When I think of like medieval battles and stuff and knights going around with armor on, there probably weren't too many women doing that. Patrick Mulligan says, have JXE on to discuss Star Trek and Doctor Who. That'd be good, actually. We should get Jay on.
Yeah.
Mr. Taku Boutique says, have you all seen the new Barbie trailer? It looks promising. I mean, maybe it is promising. Maybe it's going to be a good movie. I can't really imagine myself getting too excited about a Barbie film. I don't.
Yeah,
think I'm
that
the
one's
audience.
weird. I don't. A lot of people. I think it's because it just seems so stylistically unique that it's like maybe this one will be good, but it's like I don't know what we're expecting to be in it. That's gonna make us go like, yeah, but sure, yeah. I don't. Why not? Give it a shot.
I mean, it's got a likable cast, I guess. Like when you got Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling together, it's okay.
Yeah.
You can have fun with that, I suppose. It just, yeah, I don't know how much mileage they can really get out of the whole Barbie concept. True Phoenix says, look on the bright side. Lucasfilm hasn't ruined the Curse of Monkey Island yet. Well, that's because they shit-canned LucasArts, didn't they? So, like, I guess a lot of their properties have just gone down the toilet. They probably don't even...
Yeah.
Most of the people working there probably don't even know Monkey Island existed. Long may it stay that way. Daniel Harvey says, anyone interested in the Twisted Metal series? I mean, I like the games. They're making a movie out of this, aren't they? Twisted
Yeah.
Metal. How are they going to represent Axel on screen? Jesus.
Do not know.
A Chernobog says, hello, Mew Blishy. I've made it to EFAP 125. Not too far off. Love how excited you were to hear Sam Raimi directing Doctor Strange 2. In Spirit we trust.
It's what Drink was saying earlier. It's Disney annihilate a director's like input. They may as well not be there. Same for the Riot, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Jailor Kren says, Hail Drinker and Friends, favorite wine? I don't have expensive taste when it comes to wine. Like Jacob's Creek or something, or Hardy's will do fine for me. I like a nice Chardonnay from them. Actually, that goes down pretty well.
I just ain't a fan of wine. Just don't like wine. Wine lame. Tastes like vinegar. I'm sorry.
Lame, eh? Not even with dinner, like a sophisticated chap that you are.
No, I'll have a water, a milkshake, or a cranberry juice.
What's the other question? Favorite Lord of the Rings character? Ooh, good one. I'll let you answer first.
Boromir, for the specific reason that I think he encapsulates man, like flawed as hell, but god damn it, when the chips are down, he'll try their best to get everything done in the end.
That is a damn good answer. I think the one I've got the most respect for is Sam. Not a man of grand ambitions or any thoughts of real heroism or anything. He's just out to look out for Frodo, his friend, and in some ways his employer, like his master. He keeps referring to him as. Pretty fucking awesome. And again, to some extent, like Boromir, there's something in just like the simple determination to do what he can, to do the best with what he's got, that I think is really admirable.
It feels like not worth mentioning because everyone's so familiar, but that scene where he defends Merry and Pippin is like one of my favorite like sacrificial scenes ever.
Yeah,
it's bloody brilliant. Like, and it's so potent because of what he had just recently done. That you because I hate the analysis of it, that it's like, well, whatever, he was a bad guy, so I don't really feel that much when he dies. It's like, oh, fuck off. That scene, like, fully encompasses just how much he cares about innocent people. Like, he's like a soldier through and through, that he would give his life a million times over to save anybody, even a hobbit.
Yeah, that argument is just, it's almost like you don't understand what the ring is then, if you're
I
making
fucking
that
hate
argument.
it, dude.
Like,
There's
it
some
turns
analysis
good people
from
bad.
people.
Like, that's the point of it.
Like, he doesn't really redeem himself because what he did with Frodo, it's like, shut up. Like, you're not allowed to talk about it.
Yeah, it's like, fuck off out of film criticism forever. You've got no place here. Also, The Sting turns 50 this year. I think it deserves a review. Henry Cavill for Ryan Drake. Well, I would happily have Henry play that role. Yeah.
Can you imagine he fucking, like, he's just in chat and he's like, yeah, I'll do it if you want. You're like, yeah, okay.
The easiest film deal ever made. It's like, want to do it? Sure, okay. Dr. Kaiju says, howdy gents, what movie would you kill to bring back to cinemas? Raiders of the Lost Ark is coming back. Got tickets to see it with my family. Cheers. I mean, generally speaking, it always happens eventually. Like, most cinemas or a lot of old films now, they get limited like cinematic re-releases just for anniversaries and things like that. So if you've got a favorite movie from back in the day, chances are it'll come back eventually. I mean, shit, man, can you not even rent out cinemas just to watch the film you want to watch?
Then you get Lord of the Rings does turn up in cinemas every once in a while.
Free money, especially for the studios, I suppose. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, I think it should be a practice. They do even more, to be honest with you. It would be cool to see maybe Empire Strikes Back in theaters, because I never did that, obviously.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. 427RBox says, question for the panel. What are the top 3 films or shows that each of you would recommend an aspiring writer to learn from? Oh, I think we did that the other day.
Yeah, we did this one.
It was, Aurora Uplink says, I believe Indiana Jones 5 will turn around in theaters after a few weeks and suddenly everyone will be going to experience it because of a surprise. I don't know, man. It'd have to be a pretty big fucking surprise.
What would it have to... Do you mean like a cameo or... isn't it funny that I don't even entertain the idea that there could be a scene in there or a story in there that would make people want to see it? At this point, I'm not... That doesn't happen anymore. It has to be a fucking cameo, doesn't it?
Yeah. What could they realistically put in here that would really get people going? I mean, you could digitally like bring back Marcus or something, like, but why would you want to?
I don't buy that it's going to be a really well written story, but I'm more than happy to be wrong. In fact, I'd hope to be wrong.
Northern English Bastard says, Phoebe Waller-Bridge describing herself as beautiful and resourceful in Indy 5. 2 girls, 1 cup was less vomit-inducing. Yeah.
Does she actually describe herself that way?
Yeah, because there's a... How could I describe it? It's like there's a chase scene or something, and I think they're both in like a pair of tuk-tuks or something like that, and they're like side by side. And Indy tries to chew her out for some reason. He's like, oh, you don't know what you're messing with. Like, what are you all about? And her response is like, well, I'm beautiful and resourceful and highly intelligent and stealing this item for myself. And then off she races ahead. It's
okay.
Yeah, it's quite something.
She's gonna spellbind the audience. Everyone's gonna love her.
Oh man, you almost think like.
I swear to God, if by the end of the movie Indy is like, you've always lacked confidence, but really, it was always within you. It was always there. Like, what was? It's like, I don't know, this stuff. just have
It
to
couldn't be
believe in
India that says
yourself.
something like that. It would have to be another strong female character that tells her, like fucking Marion just shows up again and tells
Yeah,
that
Indy's in the
wisdom to her.
background being like, "Nah, you suck. You're way worse than me," and then he falls over and farts.
I was gonna say, yeah, it'll be Indy fucking something up in the background, like he's trying to figure out a trap or something, and he gets caught in it, and it's just like comically happening behind them while they're having this big heart to heart.
Yeah, there you go.
Casey Boyd says, Angry Video Game Nerd did a video on the prequels a while back. He says they should be judged individually. Phantom Menace is garbage, Attack of the Clones is okay, and Revenge is pretty good. Thoughts? I mean, don't we always judge movies individually?
I don't. Yeah, this doesn't sound like new to me. Most people when they review the prequels, they'll do 1-1-1. I mean, you could still say something about their quality altogether in the same way that you can say A New Hope is amazing, Empire is amazing, Return of the Jedi is something else. But the OT, great.
Aaron Wilson says, Hail Drinker, have you guys played the SMT Persona games? Noticed Mauler used Persona 5 music in his vids, and I like how it combines tech and the occult. Cheers.
Well, now I feel bad because the music, the only time it's been used is in Gadelb, which is the parody thing that I make. But still.
Have you played Persona?
No.
Oh, okay. Patrick Mulligan says, will Razorfist make a video rebuttal to Vlogging Through History's response to his Abraham Lincoln video? A discussion between the two would be neat. Yeah, I think I have no idea obviously what he's going to do, but like when you get to that level where you're making a response to a response to a response, like you should probably just get on a live stream or something and just talk it through. Because otherwise you get to insane levels of like, narrative discussion. It's just impossible. Yeah. Intelligent Crayon Eater says, challenge for the panel. Name a movie with better setup and payoff than Hot Fuzz. It's perfect.
Nah, that's the movie for that.
Cody
Griffin was saying it took 18 months to write that movie, apparently.
I could buy that, actually. I can buy into
That's
that.
the thing, right? Like, how else would it be made? You keep going back, you keep redrafting, you keep thinking, you keep coming up with jokes.
Yeah. Cody Griffin says, started watching all of your Force Awakens videos, Mauler. I had never watched any before, and I'm sorry, but I'm hooked now. It's funny, the more I thought about TFA, the more I realised that I hated it.
Well, more on the way. It's when, I was about to say if, but no, when I finish the TFA series, I believe hell will indeed freeze over. It's going to be neat.
Road Trip 4K says, Drinker, when are you going to review the 2003 Peter Pan? I feel like it's the best and closest to J.M. Barrie's vision. Thoughts? I mean, man, I've seen that once, like probably 20 years ago. I don't remember a huge amount about it. I just remember, I think, vaguely feeling like it was pretty good. Do I want to talk about more Peter Pan stuff? Not necessarily. I feel like Disney really killed me on that. Watching that shit was enough for me for now. Stan Clare says, how much is Johnny Depp now worth to Disney? Probably quite a lot if they want to do another Pirates movie. It's the only way they're going to get that working. TurboGrafx says, regarding a previous question, Magua in Last of the Mohicans is a great villain. He is. He's a sinister son of a bitch. I mean, anyone who eats somebody's heart is a pretty good villain.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm on board with that. Heart eating.
That was, the final like confrontation up on the cliff top. It was a very satisfying death they gave him. Like he just gets fucking hacked to the ground, like absolutely destroyed. It's very good. High Ice says, Drinker, you dapper gentleman. Any chance you'll review classic air combat action movies like Iron Eagle, Blue Thunder, and Firefox? Yes, yes, and yes. Yeah, they're great movies. Great fun. Yeah, Firefox is really good, actually. It's a Clint Eastwood one. Proper Cold War stuff. Yeah, the special effects, not so good.
No.
He's taking it pretty serious. Dragonic Ice Mage says, hey everyone, I was curious if you guys might have read a comic about the Terminator versus Transformers. And if you had, what are your thoughts on it? It's the only comic that I own and I thought it was interesting. I mean, it's an interesting premise, I guess.
Yeah.
Might be worth investing in a couple more comics just to broaden out a little bit. But yeah, sure. David Orozco says, loved your super chat catch up with Muller chewing into his mic and Drinker cutting in and out. Never a dull moment between you two. Hey, we fixed both of those issues in this one, I think.
Yay!
I'll have you know. Hey, we're all entitled to like an off day, I think.
Yeah.
That was our one. Waddle These Nuts says, Drinker, you have a choice to make. Say your outro either as Grace Randolph or Organized Chaos. Otherwise, I'll be sad. What? How do I do that?
Well, so you got a choice of doing it like that,
Yeah,
or the choice of doing it like that.
Wait, I'll have to do it like him. I'm going to pinch my nose here. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now. There you go. Couldn't get it high pitched enough.
Beautiful. You're an actor, sir.
Gwentendo says, check out Three Musketeers, D'Artagnan. Great film. Okay.
There's so many Three Musketeers films. It's crazy.
I know. Yeah. I'm only interested in the one with Mila Jovovich.
Coming soon to a EFAP movies near you.
Yeah.
Someday.
Shan Wickrasim says, the original names for the Mad Max films all had Mad Max in them. 1, 2, Beyond Thunderdome in Australia. Mad Max 2 was called The Road Warrior in the US because I don't think the first one had a release over there. Oh, that's interesting. I know fuck all about the release schedules for the Mad Max movies back in the day, so I don't know how they were named. The Gourd King says, Lord of the Rings, The Fast Two Towers. What? All right, wait, sorry. Lord of the Rings, Too Fast, Two Towers. That's better.
I'd watch it.
Yeah.
Have you heard that they want to do... Because originally it was Fast 10 will be the last, then Fast 10 will be one of two parts, and recently I think they've said Fast 10 will now be one of a trilogy.
Yes.
And then Vin Diesel said he's planning, once they're done with the trilogy, to start up a new franchise called the Torettos.
Oh, God.
It's so fucking funny. It's like... Listen, guys, you know when you said that this will be the last one? Nobody gave a shit in terms of, like, you actually sticking to that. You can just keep going.
Yeah.
Do you think anyone really is like, you can't keep going? The 13 is the max, okay? Like, you can't have more than that.
It's just going to become one of those perennial things. It's like The Simpsons. It's been around for so fucking long, you can't even remember a time when it didn't exist.
The funny thing is, I've seen Fast and Furious 1, 2, and 3, I think. I haven't seen any more of them, and I am more than on board with them continuing. All I hear about is how they're hilariously dumb and stupid and fun. It's like, listen, know your audience, just go with it. I actually really do think they should lean into the time travel, dinosaurs, space aliens. Like, do it. Each movie, just change it up. Like, I almost feel like Vin Diesel. I'm just like, you know, you don't have to lie. You don't have to pretend like it's meaningful. Like we can admit what this is.
It's such an interesting combination, right, of ridiculous, over the top stupidity, you know, which we've talked about before, coupled with some genuinely impressive stunt sequences. Like, you know, it wasn't all just CGI. Like, they did some of this with practical effects, and you can tell they put in a lot of work to do that. And then also paired with, like, what would I even call it? Just a real earnest desire to have some real emotional beats in there. Like, this is the best way I can describe it. It's like they kind of really believe in what they're doing. Like, they want to make good, like, fun movies. Seriously. Yeah, they want to have a bit of heart to it as well, I guess, is how I'm trying to put this. And there's something just kind of endearing about that. I said this in my Fast 10 review. Like, I can't help but just like it a little.
Well, it sounds like you're describing, maybe I'm off base here, but Michael Bay kind of movie?
It's got that element to it, yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, that's probably the best way of looking at it. There's obviously the you know, everyone memes on the whole family thing, but like, I think it does mean a lot to Vin Diesel, and like, I think he just he enjoys doing it. I get the impression that they all do.
I'm even fine with him pretending like it's a super meaningful franchise. Just keep it going, whatever. You don't need to do this whole like, oh, it's gotta do it. We're closing it out. The last one, the story finally is like, no, shut up.
I mean,
Keep
if it
going.
was a cynical man, you could just say it's a marketing ploy to generate more interest because everyone's clearly got to go and see the last 3 movies, like to get the
Oh,
end of the
that's
story.
exactly what it is. The saying it's gonna end is like a hype generator. It's like, whoa, what's the ending gonna be? But then, of course, when you end it, you're like, but I want more.
Yeah.
And someone, I think it would be a fair thing for someone to be like, I thought you guys advocate for the ending of stories, and I'd be like, yes, I do. I don't think you need to end this. This is less
This
a
isn't
story and more an experience.
yeah, this isn't a story in the normal sense. It's a soap opera, and soap operas never really end. They just like generate more stories, and like no matter how many bad guys they take down, well, they always have a brother or a
Yeah,
son or
which
like
I
a
find is
sister
funny.
or something like that. Yeah, there's just like who cares? Characters that have been killed like 3 times over, they just come back to life. Like I don't know how it happens. Gal Gadot's back in this one. I don't know how she survived the fucking falling off a plane that exploded on her, but yeah, she's fine. Right?
Question I was gonna have, I saw memes about it. Is Jason Momoa is playing like he's like the Joker, is what I've heard.
I sort of described it as like the Joker crossed with Jack Sparrow.
Fucking hell,
Be-
okay.
because like yeah, he's unhinged and he's like really eccentric and weird, and there's a sinister edge to him, obviously, because he enjoys like murdering people and blowing stuff up. But he's like quite campy and goofy at the same time.
And
And
he's
like
someone's brother, I guess.
yeah, he's like the son. He's the son of a bad guy from like fucking 5 movies ago. So like,
This is dude. We're gonna on EFAB. We're gonna do a Fast and Furious arc, and it's gonna be so funny to go through this storyline, as they call it.
well, it's fascinating because there's a narrative through line for this. Believe it or fucking not, like they reference all sorts of stuff that happened in previous films, and they even had to do like a non chronological storytelling to work some of it out because there's like one character who fucking dies in Tokyo Drift, but then they Justin Lin, I think the director, really wanted to bring him back to life. Like he really liked the actor, and so you have then the following, I don't know, 4 movies all skip back in time to before the events of Tokyo Drift. So there's like this fucking crazy time loop going on in the Fast and the Furious movies. At a certain point, no one even gives a fuck because it's like, well, who really cares about keeping track of these things? But I think they tried to make it make sense. God bless them, if so.
God bless them. I'm all I'm saying is I'm all in on board with them making fucking 50 of these things. Go right ahead.
I mean, yeah, I like it, and I think the actors know exactly what's in store for them when this eventually ends. Fuck all.
Speaking of
So,
franchises that pretend to have a story and an ending, Saw is getting its next installment this October.
I despise those movies. I fucking hate what they did to horror. I hate the ridiculous torture porn that is basically all they are.
It's so funny.
And
I'm with YMS on this. I practically blank out a lot of the torture porn stuff. I find the storylines absolutely hilarious. All the twists and the ways they try and like keep you on your toes. And they're like, oh, this guy was actually behind this, who did this, and this character was here, and this wall actually opens up into a whole secret room that had all these people
yeah,
doing it. It's just like the boldness of the writing is always so entertaining to me.
because they're not goofy in the sense like Fast and the Furious movies are. Like they're kind of trying to play it straight to some extent. Like this is a serious world where this stuff is taking place, and you're meant to buy into it.
Um, I want to agree. I think you're right. Because like I think I'm trying to think if there's any self-aware ones. Because a lot of
I
it is
think.
just really bad. Did you see the Chris Rock one? That was awful.
Oh fuck no, no! I got to like part 3 and just gave up. I was like, right, no more of this.
I've got the controversial opinion that 6 is the only one that I think I like. I think the rest of them are dumb bullshit that I like making fun of, but 6 has actually got stuff in it that I like. I like
Good
that
for
means
you.
nothing to you.
It's like,
Hey,
not gonna
that's
convince me
my
to watch
Fast
them.
and the Furious, okay?
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay.
They got
You know?
another one coming, Drinker. It's so exciting and hyped. Just see Jigsaw's come back, dude.
It just it says so much about our outlooks on films. It's like I'm enjoying this franchise with like action, fast cars, hot women, and you're like, I like to see people get dismembered.
Hey, I'm gonna be on board with Fast and the Furious one day. We'll talk all about Fast 11 or whatever the fuck.
Oh god, yeah, we'll be old men and they'll still be making Fast and the Furious movies.
Hmm.
Vin Diesel just like becomes a car because he's like can't walk anymore.
They need to cross it over with like fucking I don't know John Wick or something.
Yeah, well, he needs to get his hands
Oh
on the
yeah, did
DeLorean,
you
but it
hear
needs to.
John Wick's 5 is in production already now, or not in production, but they're sorting it out.
That was always going to
There's,
happen.
it's just funny to me that because I made the error of spoiling that he's obviously he's dead, but also I don't believe he's actually dead at the end of it. It's like in retrospect, just like the reason was because I just didn't believe it, not even for a second.
Yeah.
Of course they'll make more John Wicks. Of course he'll be alive and he's gonna shoot more people.
Yep. And
because someone's brother is gonna get revenge.
That'll be it, yeah. There'll be more ridiculous bullshit with the, the high table and all that crap.
Bring back
he's
Donnie
never found
Yen.
all the people from it, so yeah, he's got to go in and kill all.
Well, that's
of
what I
them,
mean, man.
guess.
A lot of people praise it as like a great ender to the franchise. Not only is it not going to end it, but I really feel like we need to see the high table before it ends. This is someone who doesn't even like the fact that there's sequels to John Wick, by the way. I'm saying it.
I mean, are they still doing one with what's her name, Anna de Armas?
Like yeah, I think that's a TV show that's coming, right? Something like that.
Right. Okay.
So get that at some point.
I got the feeling that might be quite fun, but probably no one will fucking want to watch it. But never mind. Inconspicuous bot guy says, "Howdy, do you plan on watching or reviewing the upcoming Transformers film in June? Rise of the Beast." Honestly, I just feel like it's pointless. Like, it's almost irrelevant whether the film's good or bad. People will see it because it's a Transformers movie. And I can't
keep track of the Transformers movies. It's like,
I know.
When people say you've seen the new one, I'm like, does it still go in? Are they still making them?
What was the one where they were like medieval knights or something? And it had
was that called The Last Knight? Something like that?
Maybe. I don't know. It had Anthony Hopkins in it for some reason because I guess he needed a paycheck. And that was the point where I said, I'm done with the Transformers films. I don't want to watch this anymore.
Anthony, no.
Yeah. Aurora Uplink says, Lord of the Rings remake. Vin Diesel as Frodo or Gandalf?
Frodo.
Yeah.
It makes more sense.
That'd be fucking awesome, actually.
Frodo cared about family.
Frodo. He did, yeah. Richard says, I think the reason the rape scenes are so hated by modern audiences is that it reminds us how physically weak women are, really, versus a single man. It's a small glimpse of truth, and they hate truth above all. I mean, it's probably an element of it, I guess.
They're really uncomfortable to watch, but like, if it's significantly a part of a particular storytelling beat, it's like, well then, just because we're desensitized to seeing people murdered, like it's... maybe there's value in that to understand like how harrowing that experience is for the character instead of being like, I don't want to see this in my show. It reminds me of people who like complained too much swearing in Game of Thrones or something. It's like, dude.
Well, it makes me wonder as well, right? Is it a PR thing that they're covering themselves for? Because no matter what context you portray it in, if you show it on screen, you're always going to get accusations on social media or from whatever poses as a journalist these days, saying, "Oh, you're glorifying this because you're showing it." And is it just like, well, we can't even show it or imply it now because it's going to open us up to accusations of this and that, and we just can't do it.
Kind of sucks, doesn't it? I almost wish that there were between the creators and the response from critics / stuff. It's just like you almost wish sometimes that they just got to make things in isolation, so that they no meta to decide what things get made. But then at the same time, response to the meta can be why we get great things. So it's complicated.
I mean, it ultimately comes down to the intent and the skill of the writers. But I feel like, see if you were put in charge of writing a script for a company like Disney or Universal or any of the big studios, I feel like you would have so many constraints put on you, not in terms of like the overall structure of the story, just all the little things that you couldn't say or you couldn't have a character do, or certain, you couldn't have certain demographics portrayed a certain way, and it must just be fucking infuriating to try and like tell a story out of all that.
Why anyone would want to work for them, but then it's like, but it's Disney, and you put that on the resume, right? It's like, well, I guess so. I can't criticize anyone too much for wanting a job, right? So they just go with it. But fuck me, like, it's got to be the worst thing ever for someone who actually wants to write stories to write for
Yep.
Disney.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, taking an aspiring chef and putting them in McDonald's. It's like you literally just have to assemble the same food every day. Like,
That was actually in that Tony Gilroy interview we watched. He said they were preparing to start filming and/or season one. COVID hit, and so he spent, I think he said 3 months, something like that, with the time they had off before they organized the shoot again, just redrafting scripts. And I was like, oh my god, like, you even allowed to do that?
imagine that, eh? That dedication. Blue Collar Loser says, seeing The Mermaid tonight, people ask why. I know it's going to be crap. I feel I can't review it unless I actually watch it. I mean, that's true, yeah.
Well,
Unless
yeah.
we're going by that guy from EFAP the other day. Do you agree? You knew Wendy was awful, but you had to watch it to make a video. I mean, well, that's it. Yeah. It's kind of my job to review things, I suppose. So even if I know
It's a fundamental, I'll always give a thing a chance, no matter, like the Ray movie. If everyone was like, do you even think there's a chance it's good? It's like, you know what? I have to be honest. Yeah, it could be a very, very slim chance based on everything we know, but there's a chance. You can't just write it off completely. So we'll have a look-see, won't we?
Yeah. Well, it's funny, like, I've said this before, I think, but people treat it as some kind of L if, like, I think a movie's going to be bad and then it turns out to be really good and I give it a glowing review. And it's like, well, can you not tell from the tone of my voice? Like, I'm happy to have watched a fun movie and enjoyed
Dude,
myself.
I have never
like,
understood that. Like, you were fucking wrong. It's like, oh no. And besides, where are these people when we're right? Like 99% of the time, like, oh, this new Star Wars thing is gonna be bad. And then it is. You don't see them going like, wow, you were right. Instead, they'll just be like, shut up, you hate everything.
Mason Daly says, here's a drink on me, and just for the guy that always recommends Demon Slayer, for his sake, don't review it on the channel. Terrible world building and characters, but gorgeous animation carries it. Ooh. Is that a controversial take? I'm not sure.
All right, chat, you go fight, okay?
Yeah, it's like when people are arguing about stuff that I know nothing about, I'm just like, okay. Muzzbuzz says, my daughter is a huge Little Mermaid fan. She saw the trailer and hated it. She said that's not Ariel. Ariel has red hair. She freaked out when the crab started talking. That's going to traumatize a generation of kids. If they can't get a core fan, then who is their target audience? I don't know, man. It's just,
there's a chance they'll get plenty of people entertained by this. Plenty of kids may like it. It's just, I mean, I'm really hoping, I've talked to a couple people about this, I'm really hoping this moves the needle in some way, this one. Like, has the world not understood this at this point? Like, we all see this. It's shit. Like, come on now. Disney, you need to stop. Disney, you have a problem.
It needs to have a big financial loss, I guess, to make the impact.
Is this
Daniel
in a position where it needs to make a shit ton to make its money back, or does it only need to make, I say only, but...
Well, I don't know if they've released the figures yet. Let's see. Budget. So, 200 million. So, not a cheap one. I feel like they've gone all out with the marketing on this one as well. Like,
well, yeah.
I've seen a lot for this, so you can probably assume they spent the same amount on marketing as well. So, yeah, this could be a $700-800 million job to break even.
I don't know. I just don't expect that, but yeah, all right, we'll see how it goes.
I mean, the problem is that the other live action remakes they've done, a lot of them have been billion-dollar movies, more than well over $1 billion in some cases. Like I think Aladdin did fucking crazy numbers.
It did, yeah.
Oh, it's as much as I hate the idea of just doing these endless remakes, like they've got some successful pedigree behind them. Yeah, Daniel Warden says, writers now, my character wants to commit genocide, but she's justified because of catcalling. That's pretty much the mentality. Simon Ho says, centaurs will win the Olympics. Deal with it, centiphobe. I like that. We had a whole conversation about a sophisticated centaur that you could date, I suppose. Yeah,
we did.
There's always a chance.
They deserve rights.
Do you get female ones? You must do.
Oh, surely, yeah.
Are they hot? Well, we'll find out. That's for later. Ambient Space Noise says, I asked last time, but any updates on a Razor Mauler Drinker Unforgiven stream? David Peoples maybe would be down to join you guys. Long live Pinochet. Okay. But yeah, could we ever do a sort of happy hour about Unforgiven? I
I would be 1 billion% on board with that one.
Nice. Yo-Yo says, there is indeed centaur porn on the interweb, in various interpretations. First there is the style of missionary. Aha, you knew we were going to check. Okay. I bet there was a whole army of people checking after that stream. Mr. Wise Guy says, the Cinderella remake was great. I'll take your word for it.
I've heard is that one and the Jungle Book are the ones that aren't like the new ones. That's all I know.
Right. Lyra Panique says, when is the EFAP movies Fast and the Furious arc coming? Well, we were just talking about that.
Yeah. No promises on exactly when, but you know, we bring you all kinds of arcs all the time, and there's some that I just can't wait to tell you about. You're gonna love them.
Chernobog says, Chris once said that Star Wars Visions only had female leads, implying it was bad. I would counter that despite that, each episode in only 15 minutes had better plots, characters, and arcs than anything in the sequels. I mean, that's not a high benchmark if you're honest with yourself. I mean, yeah, maybe they're fantastic. I think it's just the larger point that Chris was making there, I think, is that they're so determined to focus on female characters that they basically forget men even exist, and like every story has to revolve around them now. So, I mean, yeah, it's a bit exclusionary, you know what I mean? It'd be nice to have a little bit of balance.
For the record, if we found out, I say this as if it would ever fucking happen, but maybe once upon a time it may have, but if there was a mandate to have, let's say, 10 episodes and they were all individual creators and the one rule they had was you have to have a male protagonist for all of them, I'd be like, oh, that's not very good. Like, they shouldn't be doing that. Yeah. You know, it goes both ways, and the implication I think is that is a restriction maybe that the writers had, or did they all coincidentally choose a female protagonist? It's like, okay, seems unlikely.
What are the odds, eh? Yeah. Xian Hu says the Jungle Book live-action remake wasn't bad. Fair play. Fiction Theorizer says, I'm pretty sure someone already did a screenplay with a misunderstood Ursula, so they'll get there eventually. The only question is when. I don't doubt it. Jacob Ortolani says, Drinker, have you ever watched the movie Prisoners? Really good thriller, in my opinion. I think you'd like it. Give it a go if you didn't already. Let me check.
That's Villeneuve.
Prisoners.
It's rather good.
Oh, Jake Gyllenhaal, Hugh Jackman, Paul Dano. Damn, that's some cast. Okay, keep that in mind. All right. What's that? Tressfire says, did you see the trailer for the new Wes Anderson film?
I don't think I have, actually.
What is it called? Can I be honest? I'm going to be totally honest with you. I'm not a big fan of Wes Anderson films.
That's not something I think that should be considered controversial. He's an acquired taste.
I fucking hate whimsy. I can't stand it. Stevie G says, just curious if anyone has watched Joaquin Phoenix's Beau is Afraid, and if so, thoughts. Cheers. I don't think fucking anyone saw it based on the box office.
I think, yeah, that was the thing with that one, right? It was like, uh-oh. That was a lot of money. All I've heard is it's a very artsy film. That's all I know.
Yeah. Shaker Silver says, regarding movies under 2 hours, looking back, Warner Brothers made the right call in trimming down Justice League rather than include all of Snyder's grim, bloated vision. I think Muller would probably agree with you on that one.
I got in so much trouble for saying that.
Didn't he mandate 2 hours, right? And he delivered it exactly on 2 hours.
Yes. Joss was not allowed to do any longer than 2 hours. And then we got the 4-hour version. There's 2 of those movies technically put together. Whoa, that was worth it.
The Zack Snyder's Justice League was definitely an experience that I experienced. Yeah,
we all did. We were inflicted.
Big Johnny. I will say though, right? He's a fascinating
director.
Yeah, just like I'd love to get inside his head and just understand what his methodology is for making movies like this, because it's so different from how so many other directors approach this stuff.
You know, it's funny. Because we covered it on an EFAP episode a while back, but there's this clip. It's in one of Jay's videos, where Zach is in some Comic-Con thing or whatever, and he's told to address the whole like Batman doesn't kill thing, and he's like, "Fuck that! Superheroes do kill. Superheroes embezzle money. Superheroes fuck over the
Yeah.
country, and it's time like you fucking realize that shit." You know, and his point, if I'm being as generous as possible, is that superheroes are no different from anyone else, and everyone else can be corrupted, and that it's time to realize like we shouldn't just see superheroes as these like impossibly perfect and uncorruptible beings and stuff. But it's so crazy because it's like you do know what fan base you're dealing with, right? Like you got Superman and Batman. These are not characters that everyone's like, oh yeah, I love my down to earth, realistic, morally dubious Superman. What are you doing?
That comment right there is why he was the perfect guy to direct Watchmen and the absolute worst guy to direct Man of Steel.
Yeah, Watchmen makes way more sense with that, like, point of view. So fucking weird that he wanted to do that. Because, like, as someone who has often gotten into the whole does Batman kill, is it right, wrong, blah, blah, blah conversation, watching BVS and Batman, like, flattens someone with his car, just fucking lands, it's like, doesn't give a shit, as, like, artillery fucking shooting out of it, it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
At least in The Dark Knight, when you talk about who he kills, you have to be specific, and there's a bit of a conversation about whether or not it actually happened. Like Batman Begins, right? It's like, did he kill Ra's al Ghul? But yeah, there's no denying it in BVS, and it's just like, yeah, fuck you, Batman does kill. It's like, all right.
Daniel Warden says, you say kids can't sit through long movies, but I watched Lord of the Rings and the prequels as a kid and didn't have a problem. I guess it depends on the age. Like, I'm assuming you were a little bit older if you're watching something like Lord of the Rings, just to be enthused about it in the first place. Like when we're talking about something like The Little Mermaid, this is designed for like 5-year-olds.
It's funny because I would have been 8 when I watched Fellowship of the Ring, and I distinctly remember when I got my hands on those extended editions, I was like, this is just God in film. Like I was so happy with it. But I couldn't possibly say that I would represent any kind of normal reaction.
Plus, like you're talking about like getting the extended editions like at home that you can pause and you can go away and do other things, whatever. Like,
sure.
I guess it's kind of a different prospect when you're in a cinema.
Oh well, I saw them all in the theater and I thought they were amazing as well.
Okay.
Not the
fine. I'll just retract my point.
Then. Well, no, because I think the more important part is that I was fucking obsessed with film already at that point. I wasn't like the normalest of children when it comes to being willing to. I already had seen like Alien and shit at that point. So I was just like, yeah.
Upbringing.
Like I said, my dad is to blame for my snobbiness when it comes to film.
It's great having dads that like just don't give a fuck about age ratings or anything.
Well, it was from memory. It was like he wanted to have someone else to enjoy that shit with, and he couldn't be asked to wait for me to grow up. It's like, let's do it. Let's watch Alien, and obviously to his happiness, I fucking loved it. I just thought it was great.
It's like, yeah, just 8-year-old Mauler, just it's time for you to grow up now, son. I'll put Alien on.
I've seen it, that and Aliens. I watched them so many times, and it's so funny because I think even me, if I went back to then, like seeing myself as 8 years old watching it, I'd be like, I don't know if you should be watching this.
Yeah,
I don't know what it'll do. And it's like, don't worry, he'll be fine.
Fake YouTube says some of these big budget movies that everyone knows will lose money stink of fraud, as if the point of them is for people to leech money from the $250 million budget, sort of like Red Letter Media's Jack and Jill videos. It could be, I don't know.
I remember Jack and Jill.
Yeah.
That was a movie that happened. Poor Adam.
Yeah. Well, is it poor Adam? Because he's...
Well, I wonder what the box office was in it. Maybe it made a bunch of money. Did people see that film? Did that happen?
It allegedly did happen, but I don't remember it ever being in theaters.
All I know is Al Pacino was in it, and he was promoting Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
A career high point.
I mean, yeah, like Red Letter Media said, like the mentality could be like, we'll make back this budget in home movie release, like home media. If nothing else, because like Adam Sandler is a bankable star and he's got fans who will just see it regardless, whether they get it on Blu-ray or whether they go to theaters. So we can get this budget together. We'll put like 90% of it above the line and just bring in all of like Adam's friends and just pay them a shitload of money to do nothing, basically. And yeah, everyone walks away pretty well off from the whole thing. It's seemed to be the mentality. It's a bit of a
Yeah.
sad way to make a film, really. Okay, next one is Sierra says, "This super chat is a total waste of time. You are now 10 seconds closer to death. You can't have those seconds back. They're mine now." That's true. He
Well,
owns
you
those
bought them,
seconds.
so
Yeah, it cost you £5. So how long did it take you to make that £5 to take 10 seconds away from me?
perhaps
I bet it
we
took
have
you...
stolen time from you.
Well, yeah, I'm guessing it probably took you longer than 10 seconds to make that £5. So yeah, who really won? Jarameo says, "Adult film Marvel is far more entertaining than Disney Marvel and more comic book accurate. Even the music is better. What the hell?" The actors are probably hotter as well. Sam Wallace says, "Watch Strange Wilderness. Steve Zahn and pre-Oscar Jonah Hill and crew go to South America to find Bigfoot and save their failing nature show. Movie's god-awful and I love it." Sounds great, yeah. Miss Maria says, "I'm sorry, Keaton, I will not watch Flash movie. I will not support Ezra Miller." Don't blame you.
Yeah, it's fair.
Lord J says, "So you're telling me I only have to pay like $12 and I get to see Gal's Sweet Peaches? Sign me up." I think that's going to be a selling point. That should have just been the trailer, like Gal Gadot's ass. John Orchard says, "I heard that Nicolas Cage plays Superman in The Flash." According to Chris, yes, he does. You get to see him anyway. And I don't think it's like archive footage of him doing the costume tests and stuff either. I think like they actually brought Nick Cage in, like old Nick Cage, to play
Really?
Superman.
I just assumed it was something that happens in the background and that you can't quite make out his face or something like that.
I think there's a bit more to it than that. And if
All
so,
right.
damn, that makes it worth watching all by itself.
It's true.
Pathkeeper says, "Good afternoon, drinker and guests. I want to know if you've all seen the 2017 Denzel Washington movie Roman J. Israel Esquire." Have not. No.
No.
What the fuck is that? Xian Hu says, "I wish they had used Grant Gustin as the other timeline Flash." He's probably in there somewhere. I can't get the idea of two Ezra Millers for an entire hour of the film out of my head. That just sounds horrific.
Yeah.
The Gourd King, Hollywood has no stakes because they're all vegan. True. Baker
Nice.
Boy, "Got more YC in here than a Japanese bank." Yeah, they wanted it spoiled. Icelandic Filipino, "I can't support Ezra after he attacked my female compatriot. I can't wait to see Wonder Woman and Supergirl's asses." We're all looking forward to that. More Wonder Woman than Supergirl, but you know. Okay. Dr. Kaiju, "Hey gents, what are your thoughts on two laid-back plot films, The Big Lebowski and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Love those films. Cheers." I love The Big Lebowski more.
Yeah, I quite adore The Big Lebowski, and it's thank fuck for that film because it proves a point that I think we really needed an example of, which is that a lot of standard writing advice will tell you your protagonist needs to be active. Not necessarily true. But this is one of those instances where it's like you don't want to break that as a rule unless you understand why it's a rule, which is what Coen brothers do a lot, is break rules for writing, subvert your expectations a lot. I love it just as an example, and it really helps flesh out like the complications that can arise with writing and how we can tell a lot of different stories with it. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood felt like a passion project to explore time that Quentin Tarantino is clearly fond of. I think it's a solid movie. I didn't really care about it that much.
Fair play. Macrodose says, "There's an actual map of the DC multiverse's structure. That's all." Okay. Yeah, that's what Chris was talking about before. Mad Amos says, "Chris, do you think they could manage to trim 30 minutes or so from the first hour? Anything that reduces the amount of Ezra Miller screen time, I think, would be okay with me." Michael Green says, "No matter how much this makes, Ezra Miller cannot come back as the Flash after this, especially when you move on from Cavill and Affleck, who are loved." Yeah, I mean, this is his last dance, I think.
Gotta be.
Max Ravensky says, "Cheers, drinker and crew. I would love some advice. I'm writing something that might eventually resemble a novel. It's my first time doing this, and I'm struggling with making a key female character competent while not being a girl boss. Any tips?" Did we cover this actually the other night? It feels kind of familiar, but
I think it got
Um,
mentioned. Someone was worrying that they were seeing girl bosses slash Mary Sue's everywhere.
yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of obvious, but like, have her make mistakes occasionally. Have her have character flaws, like some things that she's not so good at or that she's
I
wrestling
hate to
with.
say it, but how do you write a man and then do the same thing? Just
Yeah, because
different life
I'm
experiences.
yeah, because I don't know about you, Mo. I'm reliably informed that women are humans as
Yeah,
well, just like us.
it sounds like from what they say, like I know how to write men, but how do you write women? It's like
Yeah.
you'll be all right. There's that great clip from fuck, I forget what movie it is, but the Jack Nicholson one. You know what I'm talking
Oh,
about,
as
right?
good as it gets, yeah. Whereas, like, I just take a man and then I remove reason, logic, and accountability. I mean,
Good
he's not entirely
memes.
wrong. Zodlander says, "Thank you guys for suffering the pain that would all have suffered by watching crap Disney releases. Flashpoint story from the comics kept me interested because of Batman. Please keep saving us from Disney crosshairs." Yeah, I mean, I guess it's safer to just not watch anything they make and just yeah, look for the occasional recommendation rather than even bother going. Timmy04 says, "What cartoons did you guys grow up watching?" This is where we're going to date ourselves and we're going to see very different eras of cartoons.
Simpsons, Dexter's Lab, Dragon Ball to some extent. Futurama, South Park, Family Guy,
So, as a
American
little
Dad.
kid, oh, sorry, you're still going.
I watched a lot of cartoons, so I'll probably stop there.
Okay, what did I watch? Thundercats, GI Joe, Rescue Rangers. I fucking love Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Bucky O'Hare. That's it. I remember that now. That's weird. I'm going on a little trip down memory lane. Um, what else? What other cartoons were there? Yeah, Thundercats were great. Pirates of Darkwater. I always loved that, and I think it only got like 2 seasons, but that was pretty cool. And Mysterious Cities of Gold. That always stuck in my head. Yeah, I liked a lot of obscure ones.
I just like how the super chat was correct. You can absolutely pinpoint the eras that we grew up in from our cartoon lists there.
Yep.
Though
Yeah.
maybe both of us did. Both of us watch Looney Tunes? 'Cause I know I did.
So was it the Animaniacs? That was the
That
kind of Looney
too. I'm
Tunes
pretty sure
thing.
I watched Animaniacs. So.
Yeah, I like that. Pinky and the Brain. I quite like that one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, that's probably my main ones. And yeah, Simpsons was just everywhere in the early 90s.
That'd be the core one for me. I watched a shit ton of Simpsons.
Hmm. Mason Jordan says, "What up, boys? Love your stuff. I was going to ask if any of you have seen an anime called Bacano. It's 16 episodes and takes place over 1930, 31, and 32. Sorry, mate, I've never heard of that one."
Neither have I.
Zodlander says, "What Green Lantern would you guys like to see in a movie or series? I would like to see Guy Gardner and Kyle Rayner team up. Hal Jordan is boring." So, interesting thing about Green Lantern. I know as much about that as I know about flower arranging. Yeah, I've not even seen the Ryan Reynolds movie, so I know fuck all about what Green Lantern is, how it works, anything really.
I know
Sorry.
as much about it as Drinker knows about it. So there you go.
Okay. Mason Jordan also says, "Following gangsters, mobsters, hitman, terrorists, and immortals." Oh yeah, that's the anime you were talking about. "It's amazing and gets no love these days. Appreciate you. S class is the best class." Um, it's weird because like you get people who give you these recommendations for like fairly obscure shows that you've never heard of, and any one of those could be like a life changing thing for you. Like you might
It
watch
could.
it and fall in instant love with it and be like, "Oh my god, this is the best TV show I've ever seen." Um, yeah, it's weird. It's a weird experience of getting so many recommendations. Um, what's this? Timothy Finch says, "I can't believe I missed direct to DVD Disney sequels. At least LM2 got real voice actors. Oh yeah, Little Mermaid 2 got real voice actors like Tara Strong and Clancy Brown instead of random A-listers." I mean, I wouldn't call Aquafina an A-lister necessarily.
I mean, it's like, is she? I don't even know why she's in stuff. Why?
I don't know what she is. I
Stop.
don't know why she's famous, but it can't be for her voice. Um, Russell Hall says, I heard Nick Cage Superman. Please, please tell me he does cocaine on a crazy-eyed rampage. I want that more than anything. I mean, we all do, truly.
Mm-hmm.
Bring that shit says, Ray could get her legs cut off and they could make her into a General Grievous-like character. Okay.
Okay, yeah,
Just
why
a
not?
fucking head in a robot body. Mr. Mitzblick says, Batman and Spider-Man are timeless. They'll never die off. Two of the greatest, if not the greatest characters in fiction. Yeah. I mean, they are pretty universal. Max says, you can only save one Marvel Universe, DC Universe, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. Which one and why?
When
So
you
if
say
we had to pick-
save,
yeah, so like the whole MCU, or DC, or Star Wars, or Lord of the Rings.
and by save, I guess they mean all of the things that come out of that IP are good now, or
Yeah, let's go with that.
okay.
So like the sequel trilogy becomes the best of the whole lot, and Rings of Power is like even better than Lord of the Rings movies.
It's probably gonna be the MCU, right? Because that's like there's so many movies that would then be made great. Though it would be nice to save Star Wars.
I think I'd save Star Wars, really. I feel like out of all of them, it's had the most horrible stuff done to
Been
it.
butchered the worst. You do get a lot of good stuff if you correct it all to be good. But I'm just saying, like the MCU, what have we had? Like I don't know. At this point, how many movies? If you flip them from being as shit as they are to being great, that would be really cool. But I could see the argument for Star Wars, and I'd maybe end up choosing that myself.
Andrew James says, I've got a feeling I know what you're going to say, Muller. Did any of you want to see the Snyderverse get finished after the Snyder cut of Justice League?
What about you, Drinker?
I kind of do, just to see what he would do. You know?
Well, we know what he would do. This is why I wouldn't want to see it finished. Was the fans wouldn't like they would split on how they were supposed to react when they found out that his original story was going to be that Clark dies and then Bruce and fucking Lois like get together or something. There was some weird shit. So a baby was involved as well. I'd have to check it. It was really bad. And then, did you hear about the whole like Zeus was going to be a Kryptonian?
Yes, I heard about that.
Oh, poor Snyder fans. Like they have to defend that shit. Like, oh.
It must get
No,
harder with each passing year.
I am more than happy for the Snyderverse to fucking go away.
Yeah. Tennille89 says, I'd sooner trust an ethics committee endorsed by the Waffen SS than I would the chucklefucks at Lucasfilm to act with any degree of competency. I'd say that's fair. Single Guy Cooking says, Punisher Warzone is amazing. I think it was the first movie I ever bought. Nice. Sam Wallace says, if you got any plans tonight, I'm sure that you finished your paperwork, right? Your stunned silence is very reassuring. Okay. Cannibal Vegetables says, love you guys. Your conversation makes drawing more better as stay salty. Nice, thanks. I hope enjoy your drawing as well. John Thomas says, Chris and Script Doctor disagree, but I will die on this hill. Darth Kennedy is burning Lucasfilm to the ground as a final fuck you to Lucas and Spielberg. She knows she's hated and pissed her masterpiece, Star Wars, rejected. I mean, it's hard to like ignore the spitefulness of it, I suppose, but man,
Maybe.
you'd like to think that she'd want to retire with a legacy, you know, to be proud of. And that's not happening. Rabin Dahlgren Johnson says, happy 51st birthday, Drinker. Thank you. I don't feel a day over 40. And Sam Wallace Art says, watching Shark Tank, Mueller is the Kevin O'Leary for media discussion. Why do you hate money?
I'm not familiar with Shark Tank. Or it's like Dragon's Den, right?
I think so, yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I do say that a lot, but I'm not sure what the reference is.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I give it a thumbs up.
Yay. That's the last of the super chats, so that's all we got for tonight.
Very well.
It's been emotional. I feel like we actually had some good chats that just went off in tangents as well, so that was nice.
We do that.
Yeah. But anyway, well, we hope we kept you entertained for an hour and a half or so. Thank you for all those lovely super chats. It was glorious, and we really appreciate it. And you will catch us next week on Open Bar. So We'll see you there.
Goodbye.
That's all we got. So go away.